condemn the actions of vigilantes like Kyle Rittenhouse?
Well, we're looking at all of it. That was an interesting situation. You saw the same tape as I saw, and he was trying to get away from them, I guess, it looks like, and he fell, and then they very violently attacked him, and it was something that we're looking at right now, and it's under investigation, but I guess he was in very big trouble. He would have been. He probably would have been killed. But it's under investigation.
That was Donald Trump defending Kyle Rittenhouse based on what he did in Kenosha just a few days ago. Now, Donald Trump apparently wasn't going to be weighing in. He wasn't going to be taking sides. And he even says in this clip, well, it's under investigation. And so any reasonable president, regardless of what you think about this particular story, whether you're pro or anti-Kyle Rittenhouse, I tend to be anti-Kyle Rittenhouse. The reasonable response for a president is to say, I'm not going to comment on an individual, legal matter. But Trump does here, and he basically tries to make the self-defense argument for Rittenhouse, basically saying that they were following him, they were chasing him, he was in a lot of trouble, he could have lost his life if not for his actions. When that video only captures part of the story, he had already taken someone, he had already taken their life by that point, when that video was shot. And that video clearly shows that while he has a tool of very, very massive destruction, his perpetrator doesn't. There's no symmetry there of power. There's no symmetry there of the ability to permanently erase someone. It just doesn't exist. And Donald Trump creating this situation, he's almost like he's the president acting as Rittenhouse's defense attorney at his daily press conference from the White House. This is very, very troubling. And the reason it's troubling is because this will embolden people. Because Kyle Rittenhouse was already emboldened by the rhetoric of the president, of Tucker Carlson, of other sources on the right and far right, conservative sources and more right-wing sources. He was emboldened by them. A young man doesn't do that in a vacuum. He just doesn't. It's still his individual actions, yes, but it doesn't happen in a vacuum. Right? He's emboldened by certain things. It wasn't the protesters that roused him to defend property, whatever the hell that means. It was right-wing rhetoric and propaganda that drove him to do that, more than anything else. And the president now, and again, this young man, this Kyle man, he attended a Trump rally at least once. The president now basically doing defense attorney work for him as we speak, and you have other people trying to raise money for his legal defense, some of which are notable Trump supporters and other sources on the right. This creates a context in which somebody else will think about doing something similar. And in their mind, this might not be the whole reason they do it, but the tipping point might be, if I do what Kyle Rittenhouse did, if I do what somebody like Kyle Rittenhouse did or would do, the president will have my back. The president will say I was defending myself. The president will say the people who I, destroy, they were actually the aggressors. And I was just an innocent person defending myself, defending my neighbors, defending property from the mob, from the rabble, from the crowds. And the president will praise me, in a sense, at the White House. Now, again, Trump is trying to have it both ways here. He's trying to, in a sense, say, well, it's under investigation. I'm not going to give full comment, but here's where I give my full comments. And they're basically being used to defend Kyle Rittenhouse. And you've seen it from Tucker Carlson saying that. Is there any wonder why people like, Kyle Rittenhouse aren't doing what they're doing, given the left and their irresponsibility? And you even heard Kayleigh McEnany today say on the one hand that she's not going to comment because Trump hadn't yet commented, but then also seemed to say that he was quote unquote defending himself. They are right now trying to mobilize not just the Trump voting base. That's certainly part of it. Trump doesn't want to criticize Kyle Rittenhouse because Trump voters love Kyle Rittenhouse. They love what he did. They love him for it. He's a hero on the right now. But it's also that Trump wants to mobilize his voting base and his on the ground get out the vote operation. And by that, what I mean is people willing to do whatever it takes to keep him in power. Whatever it takes. And when I say that, I mean that. Whatever it takes. How many more Kyle Rittenhouses is it going to take? Who knows? But if it takes a few more, Trump is basically saying, come on down. I have your back. My people, they have your back. My friends will fundraise for you. People will cheer you on. There will be videos all over the internet. On the one hand saying you're totally innocent, but on the other hand saying if you did do anything, you actually were right to do it because society has failed. This is very dark. For a president that does horrible things every day, certainly every week, he's always doing awful things. This is one of the worst. He's basically interfering in a legal case to defend one of his supporters who took a life, who took multiple lives. This is a dark day in American history. It really is. It really is a dark day. I don't know what else to say, guys. It's scary. It's terrifying.